What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Christopher the Artist here. Welcome back to another episode here on the channel of on General Spear Creates. Today we're going to be working on the torso. Let's get started. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is General Spear here. Welcome back to another episode. I'm also known as Christopher the Artist here on General Spear Creates. And of course, as you saw in the intro, we're going to be working on the abdomen and the kidney plates today. This is part one of essentially the remainder of the torso build. It is, of course, the next part of the series. Last episode, we worked on the chest plate and the back plate, oh so long ago at this point, but we're finally here with a brand new episode. The tools and materials you're going to need today are as follows. You're first going to, of course, need your patterns that are going to be available for the kidney section and the abdomen section. And it's not that many pieces, it's just quite a few things to do as far as the pieces go. It's just printing them out and all that stuff. The materials you're going to need are of course, your 3/8 or the 9 to 10 millimeter EVA foam, and you're also going to need some 2 millimeter to 1 to 2 millimeter craft foam for some of the added details and everything. And of course, as always, you're going to need some sort of glue. For me, I use of course, the Loctite super glue. The 5 to 10 second dry time works really well on EVA foam and craft foam. You're more than welcome to use whatever glue you want. You can use Bart's cement, you can use any other kind of contact or super glue that works. And then of course, you're going to need either a sharp craft knife for your cutting or the bandsaw. So let's go ahead and get started. Another thing to note, ladies and gentlemen, is I'm going to be reformatting the videos somewhat from here on out. I'm not going to be showing you the actual drawing of the patterns to the foam. I'm also not going to be showing you the cutting method just to cut down on the time that it takes to produce these videos. But at the same time, I also am going to show you if there's any bevels or if there's any particular cuts that you need to do, and that way you'll be informed of where to cut and how. So that's how that's going to work for the rest of the build. What's up, ladies and gents? So we're here with the abdomen section as we are already set up and everything. I've pre-cut out all the pieces that we need. We have the center plate here. We have the two small corner pieces here that are going to go on either side. We have the rounded edge here. These parts will come together like so. And then we also have the base layer right here, left and right. And essentially, what happens is that you're going to actually, let me give you a chair real quick here. Alright, this more or less works. So what's going to happen is that there's going to be some cutting that you're going to need to do. You're going to first off cut out all the pieces as normal. And then the 4 pieces that you're going to need to bevel the edges are going to be these pieces right here. First off, you want to take your corner pieces, or your pieces that are going to go on the sides. And on the inside edge, there's going to be an inward bevel on the inside, basically. Right up here. And that's about, 35 or so, maybe. Not quite 45. You don't want it to be like a corner. And it's going to kind of just go right there. That's the angle we're looking for. Let me bring it in closer so you all can see. Very shallow angle, essentially. And you're going to want it just on that inside edge. For the outer pieces here, we're going to have 2 bevels. And it's going to look like a trapezoid on both ends like so. Facing the angle downward on the inside here, and then facing the angle downward on the outside out here. Same angle as the inside edges, about 30 or so degrees. And that's what you're going to want. All other angles or all the other edges are going to just be straight edges. No need to worry about that. For this build, Loctite super glue. The same glue that I've been using this whole time. You can use whatever glue you want. You can use barge cement. You can use other types of super glue if you want. This just has a nice ratio. It's the 5 to 10 second super glue that I've been using for this build so far. And what we're going to do first off is we're going to heat form each piece, and then we're also going to connect. We're first going to connect to the center points of this piece right here, and then we're also going to connect the points at the center for the back edge here. That's what we're going to do. And it's going to be interesting me working at like desk level down here. Got your heat gun. Hairdryer will work, but heat guns are always better. Okay, so I've just heat sealed in the front plate there, the center plate. I'm just curving these outer pieces around so that they will eventually fit over the plate. I'm over curving them just so that when there's the inevitable curve back, they'll be roughly the shape that I need. And so we're going to go ahead and begin to glue these up in place. A little dab will do ya. I'm just doing some dots, like so. I'm not saturating the piece at all. There's a little bit of glue squeeze out when I squeeze the two pieces together. But that's okay, because what I can do then is take a spare scrap of foam and seal in the edges. And just hold it there for, a couple seconds. It sets in about 10, but I generally like to let it go longer. Especially when you've sealed in a piece or heat sealed in foam. And then a process that I've been doing, which helps reinforce the foam so that it, no seams bust out at all. It's just reinforcing on the inside with either strips of foam and glue, or also even doing hot glue on the inside, just to make sure that it's all sealed in place. And that will do. Now to heat seal the other pieces. Also, something that you may have noticed by now is I have a new workbench, as you can see. I'm still working on organization in my shop here, which has been very interesting, but it's been also a pleasure to try to work out and everything. And it's only going to get even more interesting when I have more armor pieces, or more armor sets, I should say, that I've been inevitably working on. So let's go ahead and resume. Alrighty. So while I'm shaping this piece, which is going to curve around like so, and also going to flare out a little bit and curve back. Kind of like so. So, something that's going to be new to both the channels is if you're not already supporting me on Patreon, I am going to be doing a new build series that is going to be for my very own build of the Republic Commando suit of armor. Now, if you're not familiar with Republic Commando is a video game, a Star Wars video game that came out in 2005. And is arguably one of the best Star Wars video games on the market. I would say that it's probably within like the top 5 or so. It's a very fantastic game. It deserves a sequel. And Republic Commando are essentially they are the elite of the elite of the elite in terms of the clone forces. They were sent in squads of 4, And then they were also sent on specifically very difficult or very covert missions and everything. And they often operated by themselves to make sure that the tasks that they were assigned to do were complete. And I'm going to be doing a grunt set of armor. Now, the thing that's going to be interesting, you know, there have been other people that have done builds of the Republic Commando and everything. One of the guys that you can definitely check out who did the very first Republic Commando CRL for the 501st Legion, his name's Fumart. Definitely check him out. He does a fantastic overview of how the build works. But I'm going to be taking it a step further and showing you kind of some of the ins and outs and further details, as well as what to do to get it to a level 3 certification. For some of the builds in the 501st Legion, there are different tiers of certification. There's the base tier, which a lot of people will do right off the bat. But I am a stickler for details, and I like to do some of the hard stuff, and some of the tier 3 components are going to be very exciting. For example, what I've already done on the helmet, I've already started it. I've not done a video on it, but I will do an overview as well as kind of the finalizing details of what to make it a certification level 3. And then there's also going to be some other parts, you know, like the boots and everything that are certification level 3. The armor, there's not much there, maybe the shoulder bells and a few other parts. Hand plates as well. There's actually a viral blade that sticks out of the right hand plate, if I believe. But then there's also the weapon, which is optional for a lot of countries because some countries might be a little bit concerned about the weapon props and everything. But there is going to be a certification level 3 build that I plan to do for the DC-17M blaster rifle that the Republic Commandos use, and I plan to hopefully make that a certification level 3. So we'll see how that goes. If you've not read up on what the certification level 3 stuff is, definitely check that out, because it's quite a few parts. But like I said, that is going to be a Patreon dedicated series, and if you are supporting me on Patreon, you'll have exclusive access to that series and everything. So I'm not going to be showing it on here. If anything, I'll be showing the highlights. But that's just encouraging people to support me on Patreon. And also, you get to see a fantastic build as well as other Patreon exclusives, which I hope to do at some point. Now let's go ahead and curve the other piece. The other exciting build that I'm going to be doing that I've been thinking about doing as a YouTube series, and I've contemplated it just because I've done several clone armor so far, foam or otherwise. I am planning on doing ARC Trooper Jesse from the Clone Wars, specifically the Season 7 variant. Now there's no CRL for this so far. As far as I know, I am one of the few people out there that actually has this build in the works, which I'm pretty excited about. And I have a fairly good idea as to how to proceed. I already got the helmet ordered. I'm going to be ordering fairly soon the base armor set, which is the Phase 2 animated grunt armor. And then because of this, there's actually, with how new the armor is, there's no maker that makes the ARC Trooper upgrades to fit over the Phase 2 gear. There's only the ARC Trooper upgrades to fit over the Phase 1. There's only a handful of people that make that particular setup. For me, for my ARC Trooper Havoc armor, I did it through Imperial Surplus, who's made pretty much all the armors for the clones in the Legion. There's only like a select few that did not do their armor through Imperial Surplus. He's done a lot of stuff. Definitely check him out. But I will eventually be ordering that armor set through him, and then I'm going to be custom fabricating the ARC Trooper upgrades to fit over those parts respectively. I'm very familiar with the ARC Trooper. Like I said, my very first 501st build was an ARC Trooper. I got very familiar with how the parts for that worked. And I got a pretty good handle on an idea on how that all works. So I'm fairly excited for that process. Let's go ahead and glue these sides together. You'll notice, of course, as opposed to past videos, that I'm not doing a time-lapse. And the reason for that is because I want to make sure that people just get updates and everything. For me, what prevented me from just sitting down and doing this for so long was honestly I had 50 million other projects to do. I'm taking custom orders now for clone armor. I've done several kits already, and I'm doing these videos in hopes that people who are following these videos will also be able to do those kits. And the kits come pre-cut and pre-beveled, and all that stuff. So it's pretty exciting. Okay, so now that we have that set, we're gonna set this aside and let that dry. And while that dries, I'm going to work on assembling the center plate and also piecing together this guy. We're going to worry about these guys first. And just like before, it is corner to corner, edge to edge. Corners always come first. In this case, we're going to want the flat edge of the side piece here to meet the flat edge of the bottom of the center plate here. And just hold that there for a few seconds. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting build for the ARC Trooper Jesse build. Like I said, it's a Phase 2 style animated grunt armor, and for the most part, it's a Phase 2 animated style helmet that he's repainted. There's actually several different versions of Jesse the character. And there's the Phase 1 version, there's the Phase 2 animated grunt version, and then of course there's the ARC Trooper version. And I gotta say, the ARC Trooper version is by far my favorite version so far. Just because it's still very much the same character, but it's a different paint job and different accessories. And it's super awesome, I gotta say. I'm very much in love with the look of it. And I can't wait to build it. And even if I'm not the first one to do the CRL, if somebody else beats me to it, I'm okay with that. Just because of the fact that, well, one, I already have another CRL potential in progress right now because I'm working on a Senate Commando Honor Guard. And I'll flash a couple photos for you right now here. These guys are from the Clone Wars, and they only show up in a very select few episodes. It's very exciting to work on something that's new and that's not been done before, because this particular one hasn't been done before. There has been one Senate Commando that's been done in that of Captain Argyus from Season 1 of the Clone Wars, or Season 2, one of those two. I believe it's Season 2. And Captain Argyus, he's a Senate Commando, and while the look is awesome, I love the look of the Honor Guard so much more. Just because essentially it's the Phantom Menace Honor Guard that are in the film. Same with the occasional, I think they show up occasionally in the Attack of the Clones, I can't quite remember. But essentially it's the animated version of those guys, and just the addition of the clone armor, which is fantastic. Okay, so we've assembled those, and that's what it's supposed to look like with those beveled edges and everything there. Now for this guy. And what we're going to do is we're going to assemble the corners first, and then we'll fill in the gaps around the edges here. But yeah, I've been loving Season 7. At this point, for this particular time period in the episode's release, only the first episodes come out. I'm not going to say anything for those who haven't seen it or are not able to see it yet. But I will say, if you do see it, you are in for a treat. The animation and the detail work alone has just been incredible to see. And I am continually amazed at how well that show has continually progressed over the years. Even though this is a story that was written and put up in pre-production mode, a decade ago, the animation quality surpasses anything that has been done in the previous seasons. Even season 6, which was like the highest caliber of animation at the show's point, it's surpassed that level of detail. It's absolutely amazing. I love the Bad Batch. I'm not going to say a whole lot about them because I don't want to spoil it, but they're amazing. They're absolutely amazing. So definitely check it out. So now I'm going to go ahead and move these armor pieces into position. And I'm doing this also in real time, mainly because I have had a few requests to do it in real time, just so some people can get a sense of time for how long this takes. And it doesn't take too long. I mean, it's been 18 minutes so far, 19 minutes I'm just seeing on my time clock. So not too bad. And the amazing thing about this armor is that you can actually assemble this armor in a day. If you've got the right glue, if you've got the right tools and everything, you can assemble this in a day, and you can have a fantastic piece of armor. And that's the beauty of working with foam. It doesn't take nearly as long to get the assembly right. And you can just power through this. I mean, I have a bandsaw that helps out with the cutting down the amount of time it takes to cut the armor. But if you're dedicated like I can be to whatever you want to do, then it takes no time whatsoever. I recently just did, and for those of you who follow me on my Instagram, which is Sea Artist, and you're welcome to, follow me on there, do tips and tricks and everything, or ask for tips and tricks. I recently posted my second test of my Death Trooper armor, and also the lights inside my helmet are finally installed. Now, while the lights aren't required for the approval process, they look amazing. They look incredibly amazing. And my wife remarked to me going, "You're going to look awesome and terrifying at Halloween." I go, "I know." And just imagine when I get the sound components all figured out. It's going to be really, really awesome. And I'm super excited about it. Okay, I think we're ready to button this all up, and it's going to take a little bit of finagling. I'm going to go ahead and just press that against me, just to make sure it all fits together. It will fit together. It's just a matter of willing it to do so. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm just gonna hold it in place for a couple seconds or so. One of the cool things about the Republic Commando series is that it is going to be dedicated towards my Patreons. And there's only a couple on there, but that's okay. If you have the chance to, provide a few bucks, a buck or a couple bucks a month or whatever, to help do what I do and everything and help create more videos like this, then that would be fantastic. You don't have to, but if you have the ability to, I will not turn away that support. It would be very much appreciated. And the Republic Commando build series is my way of giving back to you all that support me on that. The armor itself is not the cheapest in the world, but it's also well worth it. And it's one of those armors that's not done very often either. Of all, in the 501st Legion, clones in general are done, like, it's one of those groups that's done the least amount, which is actually kind of shocking. It's actually quite a low number for the amount of people that are active throughout the world. And of the clones, the Republic Commandos are like the lowest. They're one of the most rare clone sets to do. That Galactic Marines, and there's a few other clone trooper suits that or armor sets that have been done that you don't see them very often. To that end, there's an armor set that I think is one of the rarest in any group, in terms of how many people have done it. It is the Havoc Trooper armor from the Old Republic. There's only 4 people in the United States that are in the Rebel Legion that have that armor and are active in that armor. And one of them is from my area, which is just amazing. And I actually got to troop with the guy recently. And I've seen his photos, and I've seen photos of him at troops and everything. But I never got to see it in person. And oh man, it's a wonderful sight to behold. It's amazing. Alright, same thing, corner to corner again. Now this is going to be a long video. I do apologize for that, but I figure, you know what? You guys have waited long enough, so I'll make it long enough for you. There we go. Get that first corner down. Okay. And this is pretty much how it goes, honestly. And by the way, of all the pieces that we're doing so far in this first group of 4, this guy is the hardest one, just because of how many parts. And it's coming together quite simply and awesome. So, pretty darn good. Okay. Trying to get the inside as well. Now, there will inevitably be some sealing that you will have to do. And you can use a variety of different seal methods to seal in the seams and everything. There can be, you can use everything from like Kawiki seal, you can use filler, you can use a variety of different methods. Okay, that's going in pretty well. If there's a little bit of glue squeezed out, that is okay. And if there's also a little bit of unevenness, that's also okay. Like I said, that's what sealing's for. Okay, so we're pretty much all set to go here on the base layer of the abdomen section. I'm going to let that dry. And that's what she looks like. Pretty darn good. I'm going to show the light on there. That's pretty much it. So now we're going to set that aside and work on the next section. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and we are going to be working on the kidney section next. These are the 4 pieces that you're going to need to cut out, and what's really awesome about this, there's no beveling. You just need to worry about shaping, and I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. We're going to work on the bottom section first. Just keep forming these up. Get them nice and toasty, nice and malleable. And we'll go ahead and begin heating them. Or rather, I should say shaping them. Now I am putting quite a bit of a curve on this particular section right here, because this is where it's going to connect up with the abdomen section, this edge, this smaller edge right here. And I'm putting a curve there because this is going to be your back right here, and then this is going to be curving around your torso, ideally. I'm putting quite a dramatic curve, that way when it curves back, it'll keep to the shape that we want. So that's that one there. Let's do the other side. Okay. Just like so, and I'm doing that extreme curve again, just really kind of just getting that nice curvature, so where when it bounces back, it'll be exactly what we need. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue these 2 sides together. Just like so. And we line up the corners first, as well as the edge. Assuming it'll stay. Come on. Sometimes it doesn't always want to stay. There we go. And for extra security, I'm going to go ahead and run a piece of glue or a bead of glue on top. The reason for that is just so I can seal it in when I pass over with a scrap piece of foam. And this is one of those pieces that's not a bad idea to reinforce the inside. Just like with any of the pieces, really. Any place that you think is going to be a stress point. The back piece in particular is going to be one, because it's going to be stretching around your torso or fitting around your torso, and it's good to make sure that this is as strong as possible. So reinforcing not only the outside, but also the inside is going to be a good thing. And that will hold until we can get some seal and some reinforcement on the inside. I hope. So that will work for right now. Let's go ahead and heat form these two pieces and glue them up. Okay. Same thing with this one. Doing an extreme curve on this side. And then once we have that curve in, what's unique about this one is we're going to bend this back. This is the rough edge on the inside here. This is the front edge. We're going to want to curve back towards the front, but only in the front half or this half of the section. The reason being that we're doing that is we're accounting for the gradual slope upward and back that your back naturally does around the kidney section or the kidney area. And it doesn't have to be exaggerated or it doesn't have to be extreme, but there is a little bit of a bend back to account for that. I'm going to heat this side up a little bit more. To really make sure that we get a nice curve on this side. Okay, very nice. And we'll do the same on the other side. There we go. And there we go. Very nice. Now we're going to go ahead and glue these two pieces together. And just hold it there for a few seconds. Okay, and that's what we're looking like so far. I guess on the profile view it almost looks like a mustache, if you will. Just hold it there. Sometimes this glue takes a little bit to dry. Sometimes it's not always as effective as I would like. But it is effective nonetheless. There we go. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and let this set to dry, and then we'll work on the next part. Okay, ladies and gents, those have both dried, and I've reinforced the back with some 2mm craft foam just to make sure that everything's secure on both parts, just like so. Now we're going to go ahead and glue the top edge to the bottom here. Starting always with the corners. Okay, and that's pretty much the kidney plate right there. You're gonna have a little bit of seam cleanup right along here, but it's also a good idea to reinforce the inside to make sure that these two pieces stay in place, just because there is so much stress normally that goes on these pieces in general. So that's just definitely a good precaution. Obviously, it's a good idea to reinforce all your pieces, but that's definitely one area I would recommend for sure to reinforce. We're going to go ahead and let this dry, and we're going to get back to working on the details for the abdomen section, and we'll be right back. Okay, ladies and gents, here we are with the detail pieces of the abdomen section. They're already trimmed out, they're already cut out. This is 1 or 2 millimeter craft foam, one of those two. And these are the shapes that we're going to have in your kits. If you bought a kit from me, you might have this center section be in 2 halves. I have the template as 2 halves, basically. Generally, it's just better to do this left and right. That way it's a little bit less work that you have to do in terms of the seam cleanup and everything. You might get this as one full piece in a kit. For those of you who got like essentially my first versions, you might have 2 different halves, but they come together at a center point, and we're gonna go ahead and line up our pieces on the thing, and they just get glued directly to the center piece here. Now, the reason why there's this black line that's present here on the center half, if you get my kit, this might be in 2 pieces. It's best to have this all glued as one piece, or all as one piece, and then you eventually glue that together. But we're going to go ahead and glue this pretty much on the center point, or as close to center as we can get it. Just like so. And I really should have done this in a silver marker so I could actually see where my lines line up. That's essentially what you want to do. You got the left and right outer edges here that we're going to go ahead and glue next. Okay, just like so. And now we're going to work on these sections. I'm just going to test its fit to see if they fit in there, and they do. I did not cut these with scissors, and scissors with craft foam, you generally have a little bit more control over the shape. That is okay. And we'll go ahead and do the other piece. And you actually want there to be a gap in between all those pieces to get kind of that same gap that's seen in the reference photos and also from the show. And that's more or less what you want right there. And ladies and gentlemen, peeps, that is going to do it for this episode. It was fantastic putting these two items together, the kidney and the abdomen section. These are definitely two parts of the entire torso that you're going to need for the build. And it was awesome getting those together finally for you all. Next episode is going to be the posterior and the cod section. And then the episode after that is going to be the belt section. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Feel free, of course, as always, to Hulk smash that like button. Comment in the comment section below if you're new. Do not forget to subscribe. And as always, may the force be ever in your favor.